Welcome to America's hidden side. Did you know that only 13% of Americans have been to all 50 states? But after watching this video, you'll have a head start on seeing some of the most mind-blowing places this country has to offer. Get ready for a journey through America's best-kept secrets. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Postcard Views. Today, we're diving into some of the coolest hidden spots in the USA. Ever heard of a hotel where you need scuba gear to check in? Yeah, that's a real thing in Florida, but we'll get to that later. Look, we all know the usual tourist traps, but I'm here to show you the places that'll make your friends say, "No way." These aren't your average vacation spots. We're talking about the kind of places that turn a regular road trip into a story you'll be telling for years. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have the inside scoop on some of America's best-kept secrets. Trust me, this is the stuff that'll make you feel like a local, no matter where you go in the US. 2. New York's underground oasis. All right, let's kick things off with the Big Apple. New York City, am I right? Everyone knows about Times Square, Central Park, and the Statue of Liberty. But what if I told you there's a whole other side to NYC that most tourists never see? A side that's literally underground. Picture this: you're walking through the bustling streets of the Lower East Side, dodging taxis and weaving through crowds. But instead of looking up at the skyscrapers, you decide to go down. That's where you'll find the Low Line, New York's underground oasis. Now, I know what you're thinking. Underground Park. Sounds like a fancy name for a subway station, but trust me, this is something else entirely. The Low Line is actually an abandoned trolley terminal that's being transformed into a green space. Yeah, you heard that right. A park. Underground, in New York City. This isn't just some pipe dream either. The project has been in the works for years, and it's set to become the world's first underground park. Imagine walking into a subterranean world where sunlight filters down through innovative solar technology, nourishing lush gardens and creating a peaceful retreat from the chaos above. But here's the kicker. It's not just about having a cool place to hang out. The Low Line is a prime example of urban renewal done right. It's taking a forgotten space and breathing new life into it. In a city where every square inch is prime real estate, that's no small feat. And let's be real, who doesn't need a quiet escape in the city that never sleeps? The Low Line offers just that: a chance to step away from the honking horns and bustling sidewalks and into a tranquil green space. It's like finding a secret garden in the middle of the concrete jungle. Now, I know you're itching to check this place out, but here's the thing. The Low Line is still in development. However, that doesn't mean you can't get a taste of what's to come. The Low Line Lab, a prototype and education center, is open to the public on weekends. It's your chance to see the technology in action and get a sneak peek at the future of urban green spaces. But let's say you're not in New York during the lab's open hours. Don't sweat it. There are still ways to experience the underground side of the city. Ever heard of the Underground Railroad? No, not that one. I'm talking about the New York Transit Museum, housed in an actual defunct subway station. It's a time capsule of the city's transit history, complete with vintage subway cars you can actually walk through. Or how about the Hidden Art Gallery in the 14th Street 8th Avenue subway station? Most commuters rush right past it, but if you take a moment to look, you'll find a series of bronze sculptures that tell the story of New York's past. It's like a little slice of the Met, right there in the subway. The point is, New York's underground scene isn't just about nightclubs and speakeasies. It's a whole world waiting to be discovered, full of history, art, and soon, a groundbreaking park. It's proof that even in a city as well known as New York, there are still secrets to uncover. So next time you're in NYC, sure, go see the Empire State Building and take your selfie in Times Square. But then, do yourself a favor and look down. Take a detour underground, because that's where you'll find the New York that most tourists miss, the hidden, innovative, always surprising heart of the city. 3. Florida's underwater hotel adventure. All right, we've explored the hidden depths of New York City, but now it's time to dive even deeper literally. Picture this: you're in Florida, soaking up the sun on those famous white sand beaches, sipping a fruity drink with one of those little umbrellas. Pretty standard vacation stuff, right? Well, what if I told you that just off the coast, there's a hotel where you need scuba gear to check in? Yeah, you heard that right. Welcome to Jules Undersea Lodge in Key Largo. This isn't your average beachfront resort. It's 21 feet below the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. Talk about a room with a view. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this guy serious? An underwater hotel, but I'm not pulling your leg here. This place is real, and it's been around since the 1970s when it started life as a resort research lab. These days, it's a unique getaway for adventurous travelers who want to sleep with the fish, in a good way, of course. Getting to your room is half the fun. Forget about elevators or staircases. To reach Jules Undersea Lodge, you've got to scuba dive down to the entrance. It's like something out of a James Bond movie, minus the bad guys and exploding pens. Once you're inside, you're in for a treat. The lodge has all the comforts of a regular hotel: cozy beds, a well-stocked kitchen, even Wi-Fi. Because let's face it, you're going to want to post about this on social media. But the real star of the show is what's outside your window. Imagine waking up to see a school of tropical fish swimming by, or a curious barracuda peering in at you. It's like sleeping in the world's coolest aquarium, except you're the one in the tank. And if you're lucky, you might even spot the lodge's resident nurse shark, affectionately named Old Grumpy by the staff. But here's the thing. Jules Undersea Lodge isn't just about the novelty of sleeping underwater. It's a whole different way to experience Florida's marine life. Most people see the ocean from above, maybe go snorkeling for a bit. But when you're down there for hours, even overnight, you start to notice things. The way the light changes as the sun moves across the sky, the different fish that come out at different times of day. It's like having a front row seat to nature's own reality show. And let's not forget about the bragging rights. I mean, how many people can say they've slept in an underwater hotel? It's the kind of experience that'll have your friends saying, "No way, you did what?" Now, I know some of you might be feeling a little claustrophobic just thinking about this, but don't worry. The lodge is surprisingly spacious, and there's always a way to get back to the surface if you need to. Plus, there's something oddly comforting about being in this little bubble of civilization under the sea. It's like your own private underwater clubhouse. But here's what really blows my mind about Jules Undersea Lodge. It's been right there, just off the coast of Key Largo, for decades. Thousands of people visit the Florida Keys every year, and most of them have no idea this place exists. It's a perfect example of how even in a place as well-known and well-traveled as Florida, there are still hidden gems waiting to be discovered. And that's really what this whole journey is about, isn't it? Looking beyond the obvious, digging a little deeper, sometimes literally, and finding those unique experiences that turn a regular vacation into an unforgettable adventure. 4. Secret Slot Canyons of Arizona. All right, we've gone underground in New York and underwater in Florida. Now it's time to head out west to Arizona. When most people think of Arizona, they picture the Grand Canyon. And don't get me wrong, the Grand Canyon is incredible. It's one of those places that actually lives up to the hype. But today I want to talk about something a little different. Something that might just blow your mind even more than that mild, deep gorge. I'm talking about Arizona's Secret Slot Canyons. These aren't your average canyons. They're narrow passages carved into the rock by centuries of water and wind erosion, and they're absolutely stunning. Let's focus on the most famous of these hidden gems, Antelope Canyon. Now, I know what you're thinking. If it's famous, how is it a secret? Well, compared to the Grand Canyon, which gets over 6 million visitors a year, Antelope Canyon is still relatively unknown. And trust me, it feels like a secret when you're there. Picture this. You're walking through a narrow opening in the rock, barely wide enough for one person. The walls tower above you, smooth and curved like they were sculpted by an artist. And then you look up. Sunlight is filtering down through the narrow opening at the top, creating beams of light that look like they're straight out of a movie. It's like being in another world. The way the light plays on the rock walls is what makes Antelope Canyon truly special. Depending on the time of day and the season, you might see the walls glowing orange, purple, or even a deep red. It's like nature's own light show, and it changes every minute. But here's the thing about Antelope Canyon. It's not just beautiful, it's also got a bit of an adventurous side. You see, these slot canyons were formed by flash floods. Even today, when it rains, water can come rushing through these narrow passages. That's why you can only visit with a guide. They know when it's safe to go in and when it's time to get out. Now, Antelope Canyon isn't the only slot canyon in Arizona. There's also Waterholes Canyon, Canyon X, and Rattlesnake Canyon, just to name a few. Each one has its own unique features and character. It's like nature decided to create a bunch of different versions of the same amazing thing, just to see what would happen. What makes these slot canyons so special is the intimate experience they offer. Unlike the Grand Canyon, where you're often looking at the view from a distance, in a slot canyon, you're right in the middle of it. You can reach out and touch the smooth walls. You can feel the coolness of the shade. You can hear the way your voice echoes off the rock. It's a full sensory experience. But let's be real for a second. These places are becoming more popular every year. So if you want to visit, you need to plan ahead. Here are a few tips to make the most of your slot canyon adventure. First, timing is everything. The best time to visit for those amazing light beams is around midday in the summer. But that's also when it's most crowded. If you're more interested in the colors of the rock, early morning or late afternoon can be just as beautiful and a lot less busy. Second, bring a camera, but don't spend the whole time looking through the lens. These canyons are the kind of place you want to experience with your own eyes. Plus, taking good photos in a slot canyon is tricky. The light can be challenging, and you need a steady hand in the low light. Third, be prepared for a bit of a workout. Getting to and through these canyons often involves some hiking and climbing. It's nothing too extreme, but you'll want to wear good shoes and bring water. Lastly, remember that these are natural wonders. Treat them with respect. Don't touch the walls more than you need to. Don't leave any trash behind, and listen to your guide. They're there to keep you safe and to help preserve the canyon for future visitors. 5. Hawaii's hidden beaches and waterfalls. All right, we've explored hidden gems in New York, Florida, and Arizona. Now, let's hop over to Hawaii. When you think of Hawaiian beaches, you probably picture pristine white sand, crystal clear water, and crowds of tourists soaking up the sun. But what if I told you that some of the most breathtaking spots in Hawaii are hidden from view? That's right, beyond the popular beaches like Waikiki and Lanikai, there's a whole other side to Hawaii that most visitors never see. These are the places where you can really feel the magic of the islands, away from the crowds and tourist traps. Let's start with Kaihalulu Red Sand Beach on Maui. Now, this isn't your average beach. The sand here isn't white or even black, it's red. And I'm not talking about a subtle reddish tint. This sand is bright red, like something out of a sci-fi movie. The color comes from the crumbling red lava cinder cliff that looms over the beach. Over time, the waves have eroded the cliff, creating this incredible red sand. It's like Mother Nature decided to paint the beach, and let me tell you, she did a fantastic job. But here's the thing about Kaihalulu. It's not easy to get to. The trail leading to the beach is steep and can be dangerous, especially when it's wet. That's why a lot of tourists never make it here. But for those who do, it's like stepping into another world. The contrast between the red sand, the blue water, and the green ironwood trees is something you've got to see to believe. Now, let's hop over to the Big Island and talk about Waipio Valley. This place is often called the Valley of the Kings because it was once home to Hawaiian royalty. And let me tell you, these kings knew how to pick a good spot. Waipio Valley is like something out of a movie. Picture this: you're standing at the top of a cliff, looking down at a lush green valley that stretches for miles. At the end of the valley, there's a black sand beach with waves crashing against the shore. And scattered throughout the valley are waterfalls, some of them over 1,000 feet high. But here's the catch. Getting down to that beach is no walk in the park. The road into the valley is incredibly steep. We're talking about a 25% grade. That's so steep that regular cars aren't allowed. You either need a four-wheel drive vehicle or a good pair of hiking boots and a lot of determination. But trust me, it's worth the effort. Once you're down in the valley, it's like you've stepped back in time. There are taro fields that have been cultivated for centuries, wild horses roaming around, and waterfalls everywhere you look. And that black sand beach. It's called Waipio Beach, and it's one of the most beautiful beaches in Hawaii. The sand is jet black, thanks to the volcanic rock it came from. And because it's so hard to get to, you might have the whole place to yourself. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Why should I go through all that trouble when there are perfectly good beaches that are easy to get to well? Let me tell you why. These hidden spots offer something that you just can't get at the more popular beaches: a sense of discovery, of adventure. When you're lying on that red sand or walking along that black beach, you're not just on vacation. You're an explorer, seeing a side of Hawaii that most people never experience. And let's be real, there's something special about being in a place that not everyone gets to see. It's like you're in on a secret, part of an exclusive club of travelers who've gone the extra mile, sometimes literally, to find something truly extraordinary. But more than that, these hidden spots offer a more authentic Hawaiian experience. Away from the tourist crowds, you can really feel the mana, the spiritual energy that Hawaiians believe flows through everything. It's in the crash of the waves, the rustle of the trees, the very air you breathe. And there's a peacefulness to these places that you just can't find at the more popular spots. Instead of the chatter of tourists and the click of cameras, you hear the wind in the trees and the call of native birds. It's a chance to connect with nature in a way that's becoming increasingly rare in our busy, connected world. 6. Colorado's Ghost Town Treasures. All right, we've explored hidden beaches, underwater hotels, and secret canyons. But now, let's head to Colorado for something completely different. When most people think of Colorado, they picture snow-capped mountains and world-class ski resorts. But there's another side to this state that's just as fascinating, and a whole lot spookier. I'm talking about Colorado's ghost towns. These abandoned mining towns are like time capsules from the Wild West era. And trust me, they're way cooler than any haunted house you've ever been to. Let's start with St. Elmo, one of the best preserved ghost towns in the country. Picture this: you're driving through the mountains, surrounded by pine trees and rocky cliffs. Suddenly you turn a corner, and there it is, a whole town, frozen in time. St. Elmo was once a bustling mining town with over 2,000 residents. Today it's home to, well, no one. But that's what makes it so incredible. As you walk down the main street, you'll see wooden buildings from the 1800s still standing after all these years. There's the old general store, the saloon, even the schoolhouse. It's like stepping onto the set of an old Western movie, except this is all real. But here's the thing about St. Elmo. It's not just empty buildings. There's a story behind every creaky floorboard and dusty window. This town was built on dreams of striking it rich in the gold and silver mines. For a while, those dreams came true. But when the mining boom went bust, the town slowly died out. The last resident, a woman named Annabelle Stark, held out until 1952. Can you imagine being the last person in an entire town? Now, St. Elmo isn't the only ghost town in Colorado. There's also Animas Forks, perched high in the San Juan Mountains. This place takes ghost town to a whole new level. It's so remote and sits at such a high altitude that it's completely abandoned for most of the year. In the winter, it's buried under snow. But in the summer, when the road's clear, you can visit and see what life was like for the hardy souls who lived at 11,200 feet above sea level. Another must-see is the ghost town of Independence. This place was so high up in the mountains that residents had to abandon it after a series of brutal winters. Legend has it that they dismantled their homes and used the wood to make skis so they could escape. Now that's what I call extreme sports, 1880s style. But why should you care about these abandoned towns? Well, for one thing, they offer a unique window into America's Wild West history.